ay nagpagkarera po ng sulat kay Donald Trump sa White House. President Donald Trump wants to be President of the United States. Washington, D.C. We hope this letter reaches you in good health and spirit. We write with a deep sense of
namumuo at ang galit ng mamamayan patungo sa paniningil ay hindi na mapipigilan. Yun, pakinggan natin, hindi lamang ang mga kapatid natin sa Pilipinas ang nagsusumikap na baguhin ang pamunuang nabubulok at abusado at nagnanakaw. Tama ang binanggit ni Congressman Mike, hindi po tayo napapabagsak sa gobyerno. Tayo po ay nagkakaroon ng pagkakaisa upang baguhin ang nabubulok ng pamunuan upang ang gobyerno ay maging matino. Hindi para pabagsakin ang gobyerno ng tribunal. Malinaw tayo dyan. At ito po ang efforts mula sa Estados Unidos ay mayroon pong sulat na inihanda. Panawagan sa pagkakaisa with U.S. President Donald Trump.
Yes!
Efforts mula sa grupong na buo ni Kado Paglinawan na ang kanyang puso ay nasa Amerika pa. Kado Paglinawan, bumalik sa Pilipinas ng sulat sa mga.
Alam po ninyo, magandang gabi na siguro, no? Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. Gusto ko na sabihin kay Mike na nung ako yung naging student leader, ako nahirap bilang Pangulo ng College Editors Bill.
In USP.
The chairman Youth for Marcos re-election of 1969.
Tatay sa tatay.
At ang ating handler, ang pangalan, Matt Defensor. Kung gusto mo sa tatay mo, pag-iwas mo si ano.
Tatay. Ito man.
Pero noong 1984, dahil bumagsak ang ekonomiya, nawala po ako ng trabaho. Ako po ay pinakabagang Vice President ng Toyota, Benta Motor. Nawalan ako ng trabaho. At wala akong ginagawa, kundi pag-Merkules, sumatend ako ng breakfast, Christian Men's Breakfast sa Makati. Kung saan ako'y nagsasalita. At nag-sharing. At sa tadhana, ang nasa harapan ko ay si Emmanuel Pelaez. At pagkatapos ng aking speech, lumapit siya sa akin at sabi niya, wala ka ng trabaho. O ito, calling card ko. Pag-report ko sa Lunes, may trabaho ka na. Pero sabi ko, hindi po ako abogado. Ay hindi naman kita hinaharap dahil abogado ka. You will become part of my law office to handle the non-legal and my foundational affairs. So yung pala, ginawa akong full partner sa isang law office, hindi dahil sa ako ay mababatas dahil hindi naman ako. Sinamahan namin si Doy Laurel, tumakbo din ang Pangulo, nasa bawa ni Connie, nanalo si Connie. Wala pa po dalawang linggo, tinatawag kami ni Connie sa Kawang Building. Kami dalawa ni Tito Manin. Ang sabi namin, bakit po? Ang sabi ng Connie, gusto ko kayo ang mamuno sa ating foreign affairs initiative for the recovery of the economy. So nagsilbi po ako ng pitong taon sa Washington, D.C. At pagkatapos noong 1993, pabalik-balik ako sa Pilipinas dahil kinukuha po ako ng mga cabinet members. Una si Bobby Dio Campo, Secretary of Finance, na consultant. At nung panahon ni Kuya Makapag-Arroyo, kinuha naman ako ni Sito Lorenzo sa Department of Agriculture. Pero, noong 2009, nag-announce si Ma Rojas na itadraft nila kandidato si Noynoy Aquino. Wow! Malapit po kami kay Cory, kaya alam namin na ayaw ni Cory na maging senador yan. Ayaw ni Cory maging kandidato yan. So, umuwalis na po ako ng Amerika, bumalik po ako dito noong 2019. At mula noon dito na ako nakabilis. Low profile. Hanggang dumating ang administrasyon ni Presidente Duterte. Ito na naman, mga dating kaibigan, mga dating kakilala, refer dito, refer doon. Nagkaroon tayo ng programa sa Radyo Pilipinas, 5 taon po po pinatakbo yun. Kinuha po ako ni Hermogenes Esperon bilang expert, subject matter expert sa South China Sea. Kinuha po ako ni Delpin Lorizana na consultant at ipinasok ako sa ELCAT as a critical reviewer. Nung po nakahalugin ko si General Antonio Parlaque at kami po nagbigay sa Armed Forces of the Philippines ng solid support ng public relations. Lahat ng aktibidades ng ELCAT properly reported ng Radyo Pilipinas. Marami pa pong iba. At ang tatakbo Pangulo, si Bongbong Marcos, dahil kay Inday Sara, ay sinuportahan namin. At siguro sumuporta rin kayo. Kaya hindi ko inaakala nung June 5, patawag ako sa Tricom. Sa Kongreso. At ang tanong sa akin, Kuya Bante, eto na naman. Abogado ka ba?
Siya Bante ba yan?
Eh sabi ko, hindi po ako abogado. Eh bakit? Tinawag mong stupid itong National Maritime Law. Saan ka humuhumog? Sabi ko, Mr. Chairman, hindi po ako abogado, pero marunong po akong magbasa. At marunong po akong umintindi ng binabasa ko. Ayun nga mga kapatid, mga magulang, mga kababayan, with all due respect to the lawyer here, marami pong abogado, hindi naiintindihan ko rin binabasa nila. Ang naiintindihan lang po, attorney's fees.
Wala dito yun, ha?
Wala sila dito. Ang lahat ng abogado nga rito matikat.
Puro na to. Puro na to.
Ay, yung monometer mo.
Ang pinaka-dangerous na abogado po ay yung alam niya kung anong tama. Pagpagtanggol pa. Ang balik. Akala po kayo ito, pinag-explain nila ako. Hindi po. Nilait-lait nila ako sa trepo. Pero kung gano'ng kataas ang boses nila, gano'n din po kataas ang boses ko. Hindi nila alam. Kanto naman ako, may pakpak. Meron na po kami at supplies for 5 days. Handa na po ako makontent at pakulong. Anyway, nilayan din po ni Ace Barbers. Hindi rin naman abogado po. Hindi naman. Ang pagka-former diplomat ko, dahil hindi naman daw ako pastor, hindi naman daw ako diplomat. Doon ko na nakakto na karamihan sa ating mga congressmen ngayon, pulong-pulo ang bulsa, pero walang laban ang utang. At anyway, ako po ay maharap sa inyo dahil sa mga kaibigan ko po sa Amerika, kami po ay nagtatayo na rin ng mga katulad nito from coast to coast. At yung po mga nasa Washington DC ay nagpagdala na po ng sulat kay Donald Trump sa White House. President Donald Trump wants to be President of the United States. Washington, D.C. We hope this letter reaches you in good health and spirit. We write with a deep sense of responsibility. Above all, we write to you because you have always been consistent in standing by our friends. Speaking plainly when others hesitate and defending the sovereignty of nations. One of your longtime friends, former Philippine President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, now faces a situation that just never had been allowed to occur. In a move executed quietly and without constitutional authority, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. handed PRRD over to the International Criminal Court, a tribunal that the Philippines is no longer part of, and one that has no lawful jurisdiction over him. No court in the Philippines ordered his surrender. No Senate concurrence was secured. No constitutional process was followed. It was done unilaterally, secretly, and in defiance of the nation's sovereignty. For many Filipinos and for those of us who have spent our lives defending the rule of law, this act is nothing less than an unconstitutional transfer of a Filipino citizen to a foreign power. Your voice, Mr. President, carries a weight that few others possess. You have always advocated fair treatment among nations and have consistently questioned the overreach of bodies such as the ICC. You know better than most how politics can be disguised as international justice. This is precisely such a move. What makes the situation even more alarming is the state of the Philippine presidency itself. Over the past year, the nation has witnessed a disturbing decline in President Marcos Jr.'s capacity to lead. Allegations of cocaine addiction, once whispered quietly, are now openly acknowledged at the highest levels of his own family. In fact, the entire country heard Senator Amy Marcos, his own sister, speak from a place of anguish and exhaustion. Little brother, please rest. Let us go home. A sister's plea carries no political agenda. It comes from truth. When ahead of a state's mental clarity and executive judgment are compromised at this scale, the nation enters dangerous waters. Intelligence circles in the regions have long observed erratic decision-making, lack of focus, and impaired diplomatic engagement. These are not minor concerns for the Commander-in-Chief oversees national defense, foreign policy, and the safety of millions. Compounding the crisis is the sprawling flood control scandal, which has exposed a level of corruption unprecedented in recent memory. Billions of public funds were channeled into dubious projects and inflated projects. Contracts were awarded for political networks tied directly to Marcos Jr. and Speaker Martin Romualdez. The scandal has triggered concern from international partners, rating agencies, and foreign investors. In the Indo-Pacific, one of the most fragile contested regions in the world, such instability sends shockwaves beyond Manila. It weakens the economy, compromises disaster readiness, and jeopardizes the country's ability to fulfill its defense commitments. For the United States relies on a strong and dependable Philippine government for the listening forces agreement and the enhanced defense cooperation agreement, a compromised presidency creates real strategic vulnerability. Mr. President, the Philippines is America's oldest treaty ally in Asia. The Pacific now more than ever requires stability, clear leadership, and predictable governance. When the leader of a key ally is engulfed in corruption, impaired by addiction, and unable to command public trust, the security of the entire region suffers. A weakened Philippine president affects anchor sites, which are strategically positioned for regional deterrence. U.S. military repositioning, vital for disaster response and force mobility. Economic investments dependent on anti-corruption guarantees. Marine security and aggressive expansionism by hostile actors. If instability in America continues, adversaries in the regions will not hesitate to exploit it. Given the scale of the crisis and the gravity of the president's personal capacity, the only truly responsible and constitutional solution is straightforward. President Marcos Jr. must resign. Not through pressure from the streets, not through extrajudicial arrangement, but through the very mechanism provided in the 1987 Philippine Constitution, a peaceful and lawful transfer of power to the Vice President. This ensures continuity, stability, and legitimacy. The Philippines cannot breathe leaderless, while billions are lost, corruption spreads unchecked, and national security is placed in jeopardy. Nor can it afford a president whose judgment is compromised by addiction and whose inner circle is mired in financial scandal. Your voice, Mr. President, can help make the difference. A call for you, urging respect, for constitutional processes and honest leadership will resonate not only in the region but among the millions of Filipino Americans who look to you as a decisive and principled leader. Medyo mahaba pa ho, pero tatapusin na natin ito. Naghihintay na lang po kami ng signal from the White House Chief of Staff, Susan Wiles, and the rest will be history. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat. Kaya ako, Panginoon.